Hey there, my name is Sam Evans Schroeder. I'm the author of Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms and the newly released Prodigal's Son, Crackhead to Jesus Freak, which is on the Amazon bestsellers list. I've been writing for over a decade, and today I'm going to tell you 5 different ingredients to becoming a successful author. Number 1, the first thing I tell every single beginning author, beginning writer I ever meet is attend a writer's conference. Attend a writer's conference. They're all over the country. They're all throughout the year. You can pick one that's close to you. You can go far away, but you need to attend a writer's conference. One of the greatest things about a writer's conference is that you will very quickly learn everything you didn't know you didn't know. My first writer's conference, I'm not going to lie, broke my heart because I had the first version of Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms, and I was positive it was going to be a New York bestseller, and I sat across from an agent. And I learned everything I didn't know about platform. I had 0 platform. I didn't know what passive verbs were, and my book was full of them. I didn't know about writing style and critique and being edited. So there was a ton. There was so much that I learned from attending my very first writer's conference. Beyond learning what I didn't know, I also came away with invaluable opportunities. At my very first writer's conference, I made a connection with a publisher who eventually picked up Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms, this one right here. And she ended up publishing it. We re-edited it. We added more content for stillbirth and early infant loss and adoption and infertility and things like that. And we gave it a new cover and a new design. So that connection was made at my very first writer's conference. Also, I met a photographer named Eric Sprinkle, and the two of us ended up writing an adventure-themed devotional series together. That came out of my first writer's conference. I also met another woman who presented me with a freelance writing opportunity. Not only did I get that freelance job where I was able to contribute to 19 different books, but I also learned a lot about my own writing craft and about how to write a better story. So invaluable things came out of that. Oh, also, I'm still friends with some of the people that I met at that conference, and that was over 10 years ago. So if you are a new or beginning author and you don't know where to start, make sure that you attend a writer's conference. The second thing you need to do if you want to be a successful author is present yourself as a successful author, because the world is going to see you the way that you see yourself. You are not an aspiring writer, you are a writer. You're not an aspiring author. You are an author who is working on his or her first novel, his or her first book. Present yourself the way that you want to be seen in the future. I learned this lesson possibly at my first writer's conference, but I learned it in regard to my website. We're not going to talk about what we are, what we hope to be. We're going to present ourselves on our website as a professional author, professional writer, and we're going to offer anything that we can at that point. If all I had to offer was a blog, then that's what I needed to offer. But I'm presenting myself as an author on my website page. Make sense? The third thing you need to do if you're going to be a successful author, especially in the indie world, is to treat your project with respect. Traditional publishing houses go through a lot of work to make sure that the cover is top-notch, that the editing is foolproof. They do everything they can to make the book a quality product so that people buy it and return to buy the second and the third and the fourth book of that author. So when you're publishing your own book, you need to make sure that you are doing an excellent cover, that you are paying for the edits, that you are finding a great typesetter who can help you, because there's so much clutter out there. There are so many books being published every single day. And if you want to rise above that clutter and above that static noise, then your book has to have certain features that not all books have, quite honestly. Quality writing, quality editing, quality cover. Make sure that you get those second-time readers to read your second and your third and your fourth book. One of the things I learned from that freelancing gig was how to be edited. The original job offer was for 4 positions, and the job was to interview people and write their stories from first person. There were 68 people interviewing for 4 positions. I got one of them. And because I got one of them out of 68 people, I thought I was the bee's knees. I thought I was phenomenal. I'm like, this is amazing. It was called Writing Boot Camp because the first time I did an interview and wrote the story, then it was going to go through a more rigorous editing process that first time around. And so I handed it in knowing there was going to be barely any changes. And the editor sent it back to me probably with like 80% track changes, 80% read, maybe 75%. I don't know. It was like the whole document. It felt like the whole document was read. And when I talked to her, I was like, are you sure you picked the right person? Out of all those 68 people, are you sure that I'm the one that you wanted? And she was like, yeah, you have the talent. You have the knack for it. We're just going to teach you what passive verbs are. Because I didn't understand was verbing rather than she verbed. She was running. She ran. She was shopping. She shopped. So I had to learn what passive verbs were. I had to learn how to be edited, which is a very pride-swallowing skill. But I realized that more important than my own pride was getting people to read my book. If I wanted people to read my book, then I needed beta readers and editors to tell me, like, when did you want to stop reading? What slowed you down? What confused you? What part of the book did you have to go back and reread several times to understand? Those are the types of things that you need to hear in order to create a clean, concise manuscript, because you want people to read your book, right? Like, that's the whole point. Give your book the respect it deserves and give your book the attention it deserves so that it can make it to that Amazon bestsellers list right next to The Prodigal Son. The fourth thing you need to do to be a successful author is to mimic other professionals. I am not talking about AI. I am not talking about plagiarism or copyright laws. I am talking about imitating the people that you are aspiring to be like. So, for instance, when I first started trying to publish and present my manuscripts to literary agents for publishing companies, I had no clue. I had zero clue what a book proposal was. I was like, okay, so I have to include all these details, but I don't know what the format is. I don't know, like, word count, how many. I had no idea. So I looked online and I found this book proposal by David Sanford. I contacted him and I said, thanks for posting this publicly. I'm going to use it as a template for my own proposal, if that's okay. So what I did is, I just cut and paste and I counted the word count inside of each section. I'm like, okay, so I need to write about this many words for this. And I found him on Twitter and I thanked him. He's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Congratulations, good job. And he actually became one of my mentors. I actually never had the chance to meet him in person before he passed away, but he edited my work and he elevated my work and he promoted me and he was so proud of me, all because I ended up using his book proposal as a template for myself. And then that proposal actually got feedback from agents. It wasn't immediately rejected. One of the book proposals I submitted was like, we just don't have a need for it in this current market right now. But it had nothing to do with a poor proposal, poorly written proposal, or a poorly written book. And so using that template got me an audience with a literary agent, which is huge. When I didn't know what a media proposal was, a media package, and how to present myself in that, someone suggested that I look at Beth Vogt's website to look at hers. So I did. I went and I clicked on her media package and I'm like, oh, okay, these are the types of things that I should include in my media profile on my website. When I didn't know how to write a newsletter or what to include in a newsletter or how to talk with my audience, I signed up for several authors' newsletters to see how they interacted with their newsletter subscribers. So you can learn from other people just by observing. It's like people watching, but in the industry. I did the same thing with reels. There were reels that I was super impressed by. Okay, I can do something similar to that. And the key is that you learn all these different pieces and then you translate it into yourself. You always have to stay you, and you adapt it to match your own style. The last thing I'm going to tell you in order to be a successful author might sound silly, but don't quit. Number 5 is don't quit. I was talking with an author friend, a mentor, Terry Whalen, who said, "The ones who make it are the ones who don't quit." If you quit, you've already failed. Do one thing every day to promote yourself. Do an interview, write a blog, post a reel or a post on social media, write 250 words. Do one thing every day that makes you feel like an author. And do not quit. I hope this is encouraging. You've got this. You're going to make it. Make sure you hit subscribe so that you can see more content in the future that would be helpful for you. Blessings.